So we're now February 2010, roughly almost exactly 2 years to the day. And the PSO was premiering a 5-movement piano concerto entitled Mirrors that I was here for. And after one of the performances, our dear friend Anusha just came up to me out of the blue and introduced herself. And she said without really much of a introduction or delay, she said, would you be interested in writing a piece that would in some way give voice to your Persian ancestry and culture, something that would be for the Iranian American community here, and something that would be particularly for Nowruz, which is the Persian New Year, which has a lot of wonderful meaning and symbolism. And I said, you know, what I'm really interested in doing is writing a large work that deals with a journey toward peace as a goal, and peace through reconciliation and forgiveness. And she said, well, you know, of course, that's exactly what Nowruz is all about. I said, yes, I know. That's why I think it might work. And I said, but I don't want to just have Persian text. I want to have texts that represent all the religions that have resided in Iran for thousands of years. You see, what's so interesting about the culture that I know and my personal background is that I have in my family both Jewish, predominantly Jewish, but also some Christian threads leading to me. And this is, as you understand, all within the context of a predominantly Islamic country. And this is what you see if you study the history of Iran for the last few thousand years. You see that all of these religions have been present, sometimes with a lot more tolerance than perhaps now. But nonetheless, they've been present. So much so that when you look at the great poet Rumi, who lived in Konya, which is now a part of Turkey, he often invokes in the same poems the names of Muhammad, Jesus, and Moses. Not necessarily in that order either. And one of the things that also struck me, and I told Anusha this from the very beginning when we started talking about it, I said that if I have a piece which incorporates the languages of Hebrew, Arabic, Aramaic, which is the language that Jesus spoke and taught the Lord's Prayer in, then I also need a language, I need a poet who will be essentially the equivalent of a teacher to all of these different strands of faith and thought. And I thought that that poet would be best placed in Rumi. That position of the piece would really make the most sense with Rumi, because you look at other great Persian poets and they're great artists, but Rumi was both, in his own way, a prophet and an artist. There is no difference in that poetry between secular and sacred. It's all sacred in that way. And one of the great things that I've always loved about Rumi's Sufi philosophy, which in essence has incorporated Jewish, Christian, and Muslim beliefs, is that when he believed that when you look into the eyes of a loved one, you are coming as close as possible to seeing the face of God. And this sense of belief and faith that there is a little bit of God in each one of us as Leonard Bernstein referred to it, the pilot light in each of us. Seeing that, knowing that that was central to Rumi's belief was also so close to how I feel personally, and so fundamental to what one needs to be able to build bridges rather than walls between people who might otherwise want to wipe each other off the face of the earth, that I thought that this was the real North Star for the piece that I wanted to create. And when I mentioned this to Anusha, that in a sense Rumi's poetry through the voice of a soloist would be the equivalent of a teacher, in a sense talking to the chorus who is speaking about destruction in Hebrew and in Arabic, then when she understood this, I knew that we would be able to do this here.